Good afternoon. Welcome to the 330 Sports Show. My name is Justin Coffin. Joe behind me, he'll be back in a little bit. BJ might jump on here in a little bit, but we are down here at Youngstown Studio. Make sure to give us a follow, like, all that good stuff on social media. And you can always find the audio version of these podcasts on any platform of your choosing. So again, appreciate you listening. It is May 8th, 2025. Here's what we're going to talk about on the show today. We are going to talk, obviously, if you're a Cavs fan like I am, that last game probably ripped your heart out. That was a tough one to swallow. Up 20, up 7 points with 52 seconds left. That one was tough. So we're going to talk about that. We'll touch base with the Cleveland Guardians. We are going to talk about the Michigan Wolverines a little bit today, too. We don't normally talk Michigan Wolverines, but the NCAA and Michigan are talking, and I think there's going to be some interesting things that come out of that, plus a bunch of news and notes around the sports world as well as pop culture and the news. So let's go ahead and just get started with the NBA playoffs. So we are into the second round. I even posted last night, like, the NBA playoffs is drunk. It is out of control, wild, crazy. The first 4 games of the second round, the home team lost each one of those games. So the Cavs obviously have dropped the first 2. They're the number 1 seed in the East. The Celtics have dropped the first 2 against the New York Knicks. They are the 2 seed. So both of those teams down 0-2, now having to go on the road. Oklahoma City, the best team in the NBA this year, dropped game 1 at home. They came back and blew out Denver last night to even that series out 1-1. And then Golden State goes into Minnesota without Steph Curry in the second half and takes the first game there. So that's where we're at. It's an 0-2 hole for both of the big wigs in the Eastern Conference. So both the Celtics, both the Cavs. So they have a large mountain to climb. A couple stats I want to share out there of just how crazy this has been. So the New York Knicks obviously have won the first 2 games versus the Boston Celtics. Now, the Celtics have actually led 81 of the 84 minutes of this series so far. So it is just wild stuff that they have been able to take over. The Cavs, as you know, got down early in game 1, 11-point deficit. In game 1, they had everybody in that game playing except for Darius Garland. We're going to talk about the injuries in a minute. But the Cavs game 1, get down 11. They were down, 6-7 points throughout most of the game, end up taking the lead in the fourth quarter. And then, Indiana just roars back at the end. And in that game 1, more so of the loss than just the loss in the loss column, you lost Evan Mobley in that game with an ankle sprain. You lost DeAndre Hunter with a wrist sprain, and just unfortunate stuff. And now Darius Garland still with the big toe. Not sure what's going on with that, with the turf toe and whatnot. So that's kind of where we stand. We will see where that leads, but not exactly sure what we're doing with that.
Yeah, you don't have any slides.
That's
it's
okay.
not working.
That's okay.
So
I don't need them. I'm
messing with you, moving crap around while you're trying to do your.
As long as so what Joe's talking about, if you video watch the show, I transition between some visual graphics and then having to look at this. So I try to put up some prettier pictures than what you might see here or over there. No offense to either of us, but
What the frick, man.
I'm just saying.
You're not even trying to boost my ego. You're just straight up saying that I'm not pretty. Thanks a lot, friend.
I'm here for the people.
Thank you, friend.
They want to see some visuals, and not just us. But today you get you get, I think we're doing
Just
okay.
us.
Yeah. So cheers to that.
Yeah.
Cheers to having to look at Joe and I. But so Joe, like in a if your team, and I know you're not a huge NBA fan, but from the Cavs perspective, or if you're a Boston Celtics fan, if your team is down 0-2 and you had your first 2 games at home, so now there's up to 5 games left. Up to 5 games left. The Cavs have to win 4 out of the next 5, but 3 of those 5 games will be in Indiana. Would you consider that a can't lose or a must win?
Must win. I think. What the frick happened, man? With as much glitter this season had on it.
Yeah.
To be struggling at this point is really ridiculous.
Game one really frustrated me because that's the game the Cavs like battled back and really, really took the lead, at the end and then relinquished it back. Game 2, I'm going to use the injuries as a tiny excuse because the Cavs really had no business being up 20 points in that game. They were up 81-61 at one point in the third quarter, but they were playing without Evan Mobley, who is a 2-time All-Star, and also the Defensive Player of the Year. You're playing without Darius Garland, who was also an All-Star, one of your starting point guards. So 2 starters out, and then you're playing without DeAndre Hunter, the guy that would replace Evan Mobley and your number 1 player off the bench. He was the top bench scorer in the NBA this year. So combine those 3 guys missing, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter, combined points per game, 56.1 points per game. You're missing from those 3 right there. 16.2 rebounds and 11.1 assists per game, just with those 3 players. And like, that's just their averages. So, and you're taking them off the court. You are putting other players out there, but obviously not to that caliber of those 3 guys. So it's been a very frustrating situation, not to mention being up 7 points with 53 seconds to play in the game and you lose. So this is according to ESPN research. This is the craziest stat I saw. Since 1997, 1998, that's when they started keeping track of this stat. Playoff teams have won only 3 times in 1,643 games. Ouch. When trailing by 7 points in the final minute of the fourth quarter or overtime. 3 times that's happened. Once was, 2 nights ago in Cleveland when the Pacers did it. The Pacers did it within the same week twice. So 2 times the Pacers have 2 of those 3 wins out of 1,643 games. So if you did the math on that, just to do it 1 time is 0.0018%. Just
fairly likely.
Yeah.
You'll take those odds.
Yeah. That would be like if you were betting the money line on that, it would, probably be like minus 100,000. Or I'm sorry, plus 100,000 if you were betting the Pacers money line. Just wild stuff. So very unfortunate for the Cavs. And then the league releases its let me put out this 2-minute report. Now I'm going to just read this verbatim. But the league always in the final 2 minutes of each game puts out a report what they missed. And they missed some important shit in this game. The last 2 minutes came out. Both offensive rebounds off of missed free throw shots were missed calls that contributed to 5 of those Pacers 7 points. They had multiple violations. 5 Pacers points in the final minute should have not counted because of those violations. Halliburton's missed free throw should have been waved off with a jump ball at midcourt because multiple players from both teams had violations, including Halliburton stepping across the line too soon. He ends up getting his own rebound. The Cavs end up blowing a wonderful opportunity to get this series tied at 1, and an amazing game by Donovan Mitchell, who had 48 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists in the game. So again, I've shared with you how rare this stuff is. I do want to say that it is not impossible for the Cavs to win this series. It's not likely, but it's not impossible. So teams with home court advantage that lost the first 2 games at home in a series in NBA history, it's rare, but it's not unheard of for a team to do this, to come back. Since 1956, there have been 34 teams that have managed to overcome a 2-0 deficit in a series at about a 7.3%. So we're not talking 0.0018. We're talking, we're talking at least a 7.5%, 8% chance. So like a 1 out of 12 type situation. So it's not impossible. The Cavs must win 4 out of 5 games. They can afford to drop one more. I don't think they can lose game 3, because if you go down 0-3, I just don't think it's going to happen.
Is it worth putting $20 on that fact? The odds would be pretty good, right?
I will say, like, I'm still in the plus for gambling, but the last week has not been a good gambling week for me. So,
but they were a good bet. If you ask anybody who follows statistics, it would have been a good bet. Well, not even a high paying return, but still,
right. Yeah, you take the money line, you take whatever. But it's been an unfortunate situation, and like I said, all the blown call, like in the Cavs, they could have boxed out better. They could have got the rebound. They could. The biggest thing for me too was inbounding the freaking basketball, and I think that's where a guy like Evan Mobley, you either have him inbounding or he's out there and he's got like. He's 7 foot tall, but he's also got like a 7 foot wingspan. You just lob the ball into him, he's going to catch it, and they were going to foul. But the Cavs just could not get the ball in bounds. That was one of the turnovers, which led to 2 easy points for Indiana. Just a frustrating scenario all around.
I will tell you, every Cleveland team that I've fallen in love with loves to be the underdog, and if you give us odds like you say that it's going to be an easy season, and we don't do as well as overcoming the giant.
Well, we were, us and the Celtics were the Giants coming into this playoffs. We have now made ourselves the underdogs in the first 2 games, especially after game 2 and dropping that and blowing that big lead. Kenny Atkinson has been named the coach of the year. He's got to coach his ass off the next couple games, especially game 5. Game 3. They got to find any way they can to fight, claw, scrap, whatever, to get back into that series.
Make it a tied postseason.
Well,
2-2 would be good.
I mean, 2-2 would be good. I would even settle for splitting the first 2 in Indiana, coming back 3-1. With a 1-3 deficit, and then going after game 5 in Cleveland. That gets you to 2-3, and then you take it to Indiana. The pressure then turns on them. Hey, we better win this game 6 at home, or we got to go back to Cleveland for game 7, and they got all the momentum. So to me, that's the route. You have to win Friday. If you don't win Friday, I think the series is done. Garbage, throw it away. But if the Cavs win on Friday, I'm just laying out what I think the possible route would be. Cavs win game 5, and let's even say they drop I'm sorry, I keep saying game 5. Cavs win game 3, and then let's say they drop game 4 in Indiana. So they split. Then you come back to Cleveland, you get that game at home. It's 2-3. Go back to Indiana for game 6, get the win, put the pressure on them. Then all bets are off for game 7. You take your chances at home. That's why.
Would that be fun? High probability it goes 7 games just to get Justin at a peak betting.
No betting. I just want the Cavs to win.
You're telling me if it goes 3-3, you're not going to bet on that final game?
Yes, I'm telling you that. Yes, I'm telling. I cross my heart. Hope to die. I promise I will not bet on that game. I just want the Cavs to win. That's all I want.
Okay.
And then the Celtics are, dug themselves in a hole. So we'll see what ends up with the Knicks Celtics in that kind of marquee matchup there. Now, Kenny Atkinson has been named the coach of the year. Kevin Stefanski was named the coach of the year. And Stephen Vogt, the Guardians manager, was named the coach of the year, all in their very first seasons with the team. It's pretty impressive stuff. So you got in Cleveland 3 head coaches right now, in Vogt with the Guardians, Atkinson with the Cavs, and Stefanski with the Browns. Stefanski's won it twice. Those 3 guys, pretty solid coaches by all respects. Which one of those 3? Now, they're all in different circumstances. The Browns spend a ton of money. The Cavs spend a ton of money. The Guardians don't spend as much money, but their front office is great, whereas the Browns maybe isn't as good. So which coach do you think out of those three is doing the most with what he is given?
Stefanski.
You think so?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Why do you say that?
He's been delivered a lot of personnel and circumstances that I would not wish on anyone.
That's
and he
very good point.
Really made the best of it.
That's a great point. So Stefanski, you could argue, because I think his first year was 2020, and that was the year they made the playoffs, the COVID season, all the weird stuff. I don't know if he's had like a normal season as head coach.
No, give him something boring to field.
So like the first year you make the playoffs, right? With Baker and stuff, you come in, but it's a weird season. There's no one in the stands. You're like a lot of their meetings and stuff are by Zoom. Even the NFL draft that year was by Zoom. The second year is the year Baker got hurt in like the second week. They didn't make the playoffs that year. Third year, you had the Odell Beckham Baker drama. And then the fourth year, they go out and make the playoffs, but they make the playoffs with like 5 different starting quarterbacks. That was the Flacco year. And then last year was kind of an absolute crap show.
Dumpster
fire, whatever negative term you want to throw in it. So you look at Atkinson, this is his only year, but he has literally set the most wins by a first-year head coach in NBA history. But he's now down 0-2 in the second round of the NBA playoffs. And then you look at Stephen Vogt. His team doesn't spend a whole lot of money, but he got the Guardians in the first year to an AL Central title and beat the Tigers in the ALDS and took them to the American League Championship Series. Pretty good for a first year. So
he's scrappy.
Atkinson, Vogt right there. This is such a tough question because Stefanski has more of the track record because he's been around for doing it for a lot longer. But Vogt and Atkinson have both taken their team and taken them to the next level too. So I'd like to see a little bit more. So I'm going to say I agree with you that Stefanski is the best at kind of holding the team together.
And not being fired.
Yeah, not being fired. Yeah, for a Browns head coach really to make it past like 3 years is pretty amazing in itself. So I don't disagree with you in that. I'd be interested to see what people out there think. Who do you think's doing the best job? Stefanski with the Browns, Atkinson with the Cavs, or Vogt with the Guardians?
So do you think at any of those 5 years of tenure, there were any years that Stefanski was close to being let go?
I think last year. I mean, you go 3-14. Now, you had a lot of things not go your way, a lot of things not go right. I would say last year was probably the closest. Now, if they repeat that and go 3-14, I think we're talking about a different coach next year. So
I'm with you.
I hope he's around but if you go 3-14, you're probably drafting 1 or 2 overall, and there's your franchise quarterback. Hopefully dropped right in your lap next year, but we will see. So let me ask you this: would you rather the Browns go 8-9 next year, have maybe the 12th, 13th, 14th pick of the draft, and then but maybe you got one of your guys in this year's draft with a quarterback, or would you rather them just stink, maybe be competitive, but stink, go 3-14, 4-13, but have a top 5 draft pick and go get your quarterback next year?
From a personnel standpoint, I think dumping this season and getting a high draft pick would be best.
Mm-hmm.
But if it means losing coaching over it and having to start together on the coaching level, not for it. So.
It's such a weird thing as a sports fan because you don't want to ever root against your team, but you also want whatever's happening to benefit your team in the long run the most. So no one wants the Browns to stink, but if stinking causes the Browns to get another Myles Garrett, Baker Mayfield type situation, maybe it's worth it.
If we have a better than 50% season, Jacksonville has to suck really bad because we have their pick.
Yeah, or maybe that's it. Maybe we just root against Jacksonville week in, week out. So
Absolutely.
that might be the best strategy where everybody wins in that scenario. Let's make the playoffs and let's hope Jacksonville just like completely blows up.
There you
So
go.
not
They
as
will.
a city,
They
not
will.
as
They
a city,
will.
as a team. But the Guardians, real quick, just check in with them. So we touch base on all the teams. They're 22-15, which is good for second best right now in the AL, in the American League, right behind the first place team in the American League, the Detroit Tigers. They are a game and a half back of them. But the Guardians like really aren't hitting the ball a ton, batting average wise. 236 as a team, which is 23rd out of 30. 42 home runs, which is 9th out of all the teams in the league. Their ERA as a team, not great. 4.26, which is 21st out of 30. So they could improve in a lot of areas. Kyle Manzardo has been like the nice bright surprise for this team. 8 home runs, 21 RBIs to lead the team. Stephen Kwan still doing a great job hitting, 333. And Jose Ramirez, believe it or not, leads the team in steals with 8. And he recently became the first player in Major League Baseball history to go for 250 home runs, 250 steals. First player as a third baseman in Major League history to do that. Joe, let me ask you this quick question. So last weekend, Cleveland just wrapped up a series. They took 2 out of 3 against Washington. Previous to that, they were in Toronto and won a series versus the Blue Jays. I can't remember if they swept them or if they took 2 out of 3, but either way, they won the series. The Guardians posted out on their social media account and then deleted soon after. It said America and then with the greater than sign, Canada, objectively. And then it was deleted. And obviously we know with the tariffs and stuff, there was some animosity between the United States and Canada. Do you think that's like a big deal at all, or is just having a little fun?
No, that resonates with the generation of Cleveland fans right now.
Okay.
Do a little shit talking, and I think it's acceptable.
But so what? Why do you think they deleted it?
Because it's very unpopular. Probably got some phone calls being made to be talking shit about Canada.
You think from the higher ups?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
All right. So yeah. Maybe.
But that Gen Z social media manager for the Guardians was like, he was reprimanded.
I don't know. I think that's. I think it's okay. Have a little fun with it.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Let's go on to Michigan football. I want to talk a little bit about Michigan football because might have some interesting news coming. We'll see. But if I had my lovely graphic, I could show you that in the Ryan Day tenure, obviously we know Ryan Day's record versus Michigan is not great. He's 1-4 versus the team up north. However, Ryan Day has 10 losses in his career. He has 70-10. Pretty damn good. Michigan in that time has now going to go from 9 to now 10 coaches suspensions in the Ryan Day era. So not looking great for the Wolverines, but here's what I wanted to bring up. This graphic is a lot more fun if you could see it, but Michigan is sort of the Tanya Harding, and the Nancy Kerrigan is like more of the NCAA rules, they're the law-abiding citizens, and Tanya Harding's like, how can I take a pipe to that and maybe like help myself win, which maybe she meddled later. But Michigan,
our younger viewers need story time.
That goes back about 30 plus years there. But Michigan, Sharon Moore, their new head coach, took over for Harbaugh. Michigan put a self-suspension on him. Now listen to this. They're suspending him, he gets a 2-game suspension. They're not suspending him for weeks 1 and 2. They're suspending him for weeks 3 and 4. Now, Michigan in week 2, I believe, plays Oklahoma. Pretty big game, right? Sharon Moore went to Oklahoma, so he wants to coach in that game. So to me, that is a really lame penalty. Now, this is self-imposed. Keep that in mind. That Michigan is suspending its head coach for not weeks 1, not weeks 2, but for weeks 3 and 4 of the season. So to me, that's like, hey, we're going to put our head coach out there, let him figure out the kinks, the bumps, get him out of the way, get our freshmen, get them ready to play and stuff like that. And then whoever's taken over for him will have a smooth transition for 3 and 4, weeks 3 and 4. And then iron out any details we need to in weeks 1 and 2, so they're ready to go for weeks 3 and 4. What do you think about Michigan's self-imposed suspension for its head coach?
So stupid. Okay, so let me reverse it on you. I'm going to reverse for you.
Yeah.
All right, so you shoplifted. You were in Target and you saw that red blouse that you just had to have, right? And
This one?
Totally. And so you decide to pocket it.
Yeah.
Now you get, this is not a huge crime. It's only $20, but you're going to have to serve 2 days in jail.
Yeah.
So the judge is going to come up to you and say, you admitted guilt. We're going to take it a little bit easy on you because you made it easier on us. Why don't you go home, look at your schedule, and pick the days that you want to go to jail, and make sure that you're not, inconveniencing yourself in any way. Let's let you choose.
Okay. This sounds very familiar to a name that I will not mention that might be local. That has chosen only to take punishment on the weekends. So I mean, I'm taking whatever works best for me. Like if you get to choose your own penalty, you're not going to choose more. You're not going to choose the hardest path. You're going to choose the easiest path.
The very minimum to serve it out and get back to playing football.
It's like when viewers older than us were sent to their rooms as kids. They didn't have TV. They didn't have Nintendo. They didn't have Sega or PlayStation or whatever. They went to their rooms and they had to just like sit there and maybe read a book.
Yeah. Punishment is supposed to be the most inconvenient thing that you experience.
Right.
Not the like, oh, you're playing in Oklahoma. Let's not skip that one. Let's skip the game that you're easily
let's skip
replaceable.
Central Michigan. Yeah.
For sure.
Exactly. So
BS.
To me, I think it's BS, but I also think it's a sign that Michigan knows, because that to me is admitting guilt. And it also tells me that something else is coming, and there is some sort of meeting on June 6th. A hearing that will hopefully put a bow on this Connor Stallion stuff and the cheating allegations. So
is it still alleged?
No, it's not alleged anymore. They have evidence. I just don't know what the penalty is going to be. If you were the NCAA, and I know you said, it's if you can attack the gray areas, you do it. But Michigan knowingly broke a rule. They lied to the NCAA. The head coach lied to the NCAA. The former head coach lied to the NCAA. The NCAA knows that it lied to the NCAA. What would your punishment as a body be for that university?
Michigan is now Division 5 state. If that even exists, I don't even know.
I think it goes like D3 and then maybe NAIA, but yeah.
They're with Johnson Community College this year.
I think, just personally, I think the harshest type punishment would be, obviously you want to probably have some suspensions in there, but the biggest thing to maybe hurt them on the field would be, one, take a postseason ban away from, take a year postseason away from them. Because it's to me, it's if you take away the records and stuff, those fans and whatever, they won that title. You know what I mean? You're not going to take the memories away of winning that.
What about a trophy that was ill-gotten?
I mean, maybe you could take back the trophy, but they're still going to claim the national championship. You know what I'm saying? They're they were there. You can't go back to 2023 and replay those games with the punishment then, retroactively, put into place.
Well, if you lost to them and they beat you because they had an advantage, like a Barry Bonds home run where he was juiced up and on cocaine. I mean, is it something?
I don't think he was on cocaine.
But if hypothetically, if he were, when you lose to Barry Bonds, does that count?
I mean, yeah, maybe that pitcher was juiced though too. It's that's a
just put the asterisks, and that was a trophy that was ill-gotten.
Okay. I like the asterisks. I also think there should be some sort of bowl ban put in place. I also think maybe punishing them by not letting coaches go on the road and recruit for a year.
Now, if Brian Day has to look at a record that 3 of those wins were ill-gotten during that cheating thing, that shouldn't count against him.
But it does. And a lot of people, and now you got to give Michigan the win this year, and
straight up, I
think 2021 there was some malfeasance at play or whatever. But 2022 is the game that really, in Columbus, you see all the stuff with the signs in the background. Michigan knows when it's a run play. They know if a defense knows if it's run or pass, and they can take 50% of the play calls off the ground, like that has a huge effect on the game. I don't care what a Michigan homer says. I don't care what an Ohio State homer says. That's deliberately affecting the play on the field. So
they owe me a vacation, by the way. I feel entitled. I was in the Bahamas during that game.
Yeah.
And I came off of the beach, out of my hammock. I put the drink down, and I came back to watch the game. And that game was a complete farce. We lost that game, and I was really sad.
Yeah.
So they need to give me a vacation.
Well, and they did end up winning that game by it was like 3 touchdowns, but it was a 1 possession game into the fourth quarter. Michigan had 2 late touchdown runs to break it open. But I mean, a couple different things happened in that game. Like Ohio State might win, and the front runner for the Heisman going into that game was C.J. Stroud. He then did not win it, obviously. So you could argue that him and Ryan Day were the most affected by this crime.
They owe them
so,
too.
Yeah, it is what it is. And we'll see what happens down the line, but hopefully they get more than a slap on the wrist. Now, a positive news for Ohio State. I just saw this graphic, so I wanted to show this out because this is not something that happens very often to, especially like a big time program, but NCAA Division I football with perfect multi-year academic progress rate. Outside of Harvard in 2022, 2023, Ohio State was the only one. And then last year as well, Ohio State. No other big-time college football programs have done that. You get some Ivy League schools in there, but that's basically about it. So hats off to Ryan Day for running a great program.
Great program.
And which is, and again, I don't want to say, like, we all know Michigan is a great university, especially when it comes to academics. Their football play has been great of late, but they have they been doing it the right way? Not necessarily. So we shall see.
You've been rather complimentary to Michigan. Like you can start smack talking anytime.
I will when it's due. I will say, like, they earned that victory on the field this year, which in a way sort of kicked Ohio State's ass and woke them up for the national championship run. So it's one of those things now too, where it's like, it's not the Woody Hayes era where it's like everything comes down to that game. And if you lose, your season's over. It's like, yeah, Ohio State lost. I like felt like throwing up, that day, but they bounced back and end up winning the national championship. So in 20 years from now, when they bring back that anniversary team, they're not going to say, hey, this team didn't win to beat Michigan. They're going to say this team won the national championship. So that's 100%. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to.
Do you find yourself hating them less without a Harbaugh?
No.
Same
hatred. Same
Okay.
hatred. I do. Harbaugh though is he's just like a weasel. So I do like him as an NFL coach. I think he's kind of fun, but I just don't like his squirrely behavior as a college coach. So yeah, I think as an NFL coach, that's where he belongs. Like that's his aura. He did a great job with the 49ers. He's doing a good job with the Chargers. So we'll see what ends up happening with him. But I think he's a good NFL coach, but he has like a 4-year ban in college football, if not 5 years. So we'll see if he ends up in college football again. I don't think so, but I mean, he could. I don't know. We'll see. From Ryan Day and Harbaugh to this is maybe one of the best coaches in NBA history. Greg Popovich had a stroke back in November. He is the NBA's all-time winningest head coach, 1,422 regular season wins. Next best is Don Nelson and then Lenny Wilkins, about 90 wins behind him. But he announced with the support of the organization that he is no longer going to be the head coach going forward, but he will be the El Jefe, which is the boss, going forward in his new role with the Spurs. So good luck to him. He is a great coach and person. Now, Joe, this is where I need my slides.
Oh, dude, did I really deprive us of this slide?
So, if you're not familiar with Sabrina Carpenter, she is a not a hard person to look at. She also has a great singing voice, very talented. She was
Look at those quads.
I was just I got this. I get newsletters in my email, and it said Sabrina Carpenter's look at the Met Gala, which was just in New York City this past week. But could you? So you guys can't see it, but just Google Sabrina Carpenter Met Gala. But like she came in and basically like, what would you call that? Like, would you call that like a conductor's type suit jacket?
With a train,
with a long
train conductor,
and probably about what 6-8 inch heels,
6-8 inch heels, and about 50 squats per hour.
Yeah, she is not missing leg day in the gym.
Not at all.
I just thought maybe that we can make that a new trend there. So I'll post that maybe out on social media. We'll see what people think. But the only comment would be, could you imagine a dude looking like coming up like that?
Dude, stop ruining it.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin the image.
No.
But
beautiful blonde woman in a conductor's outfit with a long train behind her, legs for days, and 8-inch heels. There's my narration.
That's perfect. And Joe, she is like, you're a short king. She's the short queen. So there you go.
How tall is she?
She's not tall.
Really?
Not tall at all. Like, I don't know if she's 5 foot tall. Okay. Yeah, you can look up her height for me if you want, but Sabrina Carpenter's, which brings me to my next slide, which this would be so much more fun if I could project these on thing. But the show, I believe it was not the Wonder Years. Oh gosh, what the Seavers, Mike Seaver. What was that show? We gotta look it up.
Family Ties?
No, that was
Seaver.
I'm
looking at it.
Dude, look that up for me. So while Joe looks that up, I thought this would have been perfect after the Sabrina Carpenter slide, but they really named a character from a family sitcom Boner on a Friday night TV.
Growing Pains.
Is it Growing Pains?
That's what it says.
Yeah, it is Growing Pains. It is Growing Pains. So yeah, they really named that dude just Boner. He would come to, Boner's here.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know. Have you heard another character name that since?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's hilarious. Like, but the fact that no one batted an eye,
everybody went from their 40s on had no idea what a boner was. It's just now culturally everybody knows, so now it's obviously offensive.
That's fair. Okay. So the reason these slides are in this order was because the next slide I put together is our friend Justin Tucker.
Carpenter Boner Tucker.
See how it all
Carpenter Boner Tucker.
See how it's like a it's an all interconnected web of truth here. But kicker Justin Tucker of the Baltimore Ravens was recently released. Not the release he was looking for, but a different kind of release from the organization. But he had all the allegations of the massage stuff and inappropriate. But like, I feel like I barely heard about this story compared to the Deshaun Watson stuff. Do you think that there's a reason for that?
Yeah, I think that's really prevalent in the NFL and athletes and entertainers in general. And I think certain people leave themselves open to public scrutiny because they don't protect themselves. So
do you think this is like, though, do you think Deshaun Watson, though, got a lot of attention because he's a quarterback, because of the trade, because of the guaranteed money and the off the field stuff? But like Justin Tucker, like, I mean, he's, if not he was the top 3 kicker in the NFL the last 12 years, has the all-time NFL leading longest field goal. So I don't know. What do you like? Why do you think we don't hear about this as much as Deshaun Watson or other players? Maybe because he's a kicker.
Maybe
because the Ravens are.
I don't know. I think rub and tugs are just becoming so commonplace that the public's like, oh, they did that thing. Like, yeah, that's every other person. So had it not been for Deshaun Watson, it might have been exploitable on the news cycle and there had headlines, but we're kind of used to it by now.
So you think, everyone's just like out of the news cycle, whatever.
Yeah, it's part of being an NFL
and
player.
The Ravens said they had a zero zero tolerance policy.
The Ravens did?
That's what they said.
What about murdering? Is that on their zero tolerance policy?
Amen. Yeah, murdering. I guess that
domestic violence.
Yep,
yeah. I will take the rub and tug person any day over domestic violence and murder.
Yeah. I mean,
seems like hierarchy wise,
like lower. It seems like. I mean, If he maybe did it in a different way, it wouldn't be frowned upon. But like maybe he was obviously crossing some sort of line there. But yeah, over a murderer and someone that hits women.
Is it alleged or is it?
I think it's pretty. I think it's alleged. Like it hasn't gone to court or anything, but I think it's lawsuits being settled outside of the court.
We have to probably say alleged murder.
Alleged. The Ray Lewis stuff I think has been through the grinder. Yeah, I think that's a lot of that.
Did he lose his job? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
I don't think
so. Did he make the Hall of Fame? Is he like a preacher now or something? So
he's reformed.
Yeah, reformed, I guess.
Forgive.
So, yeah. If I saw him, I would
do nothing because
he would murder me.
Metaphorically and figuratively.
I would not get into an elevator with Ray Rice. I also would not be massaging Justin Tucker either. So 3 things not to do.
But there are a couple of NFL players that I would definitely get in a Lamborghini and show me a good time going 128 miles an hour on I-71.
Or any of the Georgia football players, because there's been about 8 of those Georgia Bulldogs that have gotten in trouble speeding.
They know how to have fun.
I guess so, and their coach doesn't really care.
They don't.
It's like, hey,
they have 100% tolerance.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I have a couple hypothetical random things, and we got a couple random news stories. So before
we get to that, what do you think of Bardstown? This is a new brand that I brought down here.
It's a little stronger. So I'm guessing the proof is higher.
50.
But okay, so it's not too bad. It's 100 proof, 50%. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's solid. I like the finish. It's not in Bardstown. I have been to Bardstown. That's there's the Willett is down there. Not Angels Envy. Heaven Hill is down there. So there's some good stuff.
My neighbor brought this over. I'd never really tried it. I saw it on that top shelf, but I never bought it. But this is the first time. I figured we introduced something new.
Yeah. So Bardstown bourbon. So feel free to sponsor Youngstown Studio down here.
Bring it.
Yeah, we'll drink it on air every day for you.
Gladly.
All right. Here's your random hypothetical of the day.
Okay.
And if BJ wants to jump in on this one too. So, Mike Tyson. We all know Mike Tyson. So
do.
Did you see that slide? I'm not going to do that one today, but it's great. All right. For $1 billion, I will give it to you up front. For $1 billion US, would you have Mike Tyson in his prime? So we're talking early 90s Mike Tyson, always trying to find and kill you. So a man comes up to you and gives you the offer of a lifetime. You can have $1 billion on one condition. Your entire life you will be chased by prime Mike Tyson. He is immortal and has infinite resources at his disposal to find you. You, however, can use your $1 billion to run from him. The only way to defeat him is to beat him in hand-to-hand combat. Do you take the $1 billion or do you say, no, I'm good?
Okay, so can I add a stipulation?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. If he beats on me, it can't be anything that kills me. So no nose punches, no abdominal pancreas or anything that will make me die. If it's just injury or pain, I'll take the $1 billion.
Nope, that is off the table because he is trying to kill you.
No, I don't want to die.
Okay.
$1 billion is not worth dying.
Okay, that's fair. Because let's just say hypothetically, I don't know where Mike Tyson lives now, Vegas or New York or somewhere, but you're here now. He has unlimited resources at his disposal to find you. However, if you can go off the grid for $1 billion, now that might take you away from your friends, your family, your business, stuff like that. But you also have $1 billion. But he can somehow track and find you. But maybe you have a private jet. Then maybe you have bodyguards that protect you if he does somehow get close. So Do you factor any of that in, or you're just saying if he has a chance to kill me and he has even a 0.0018% chance like the Pacers did the other night, I'm out.
All right. So in Youngstown, you can find a crackhead named Toby, give him $5,000 to take out Mike Tyson, and then he's just gone. So there's no threat anymore. Is that allowable? Is that within the rules?
I mean, the stipulation says you can use your $1 billion to run from him.
No, I don't want to run.
The only way to defeat him is to beat him in hand-to-hand combat. It doesn't say by
What do you mean defeat? Like if he's gone, then I win by default.
Right.
So yeah, Toby the crackhead is taking Mike Tyson.
Now you might as well, if you're going to throw $5,000 at Toby, you might as well give it to Barney and Larry and whoever else.
Have a couple of them.
Yeah, you have a couple of them.
There's a lot to choose
from.
But
now, will those guys be loyal to you?
No, they just need to do one job, and then I never have to know them again.
But if Mike Tyson gets close to you, it's kind of like the man versus, or 100 men versus the gorilla thing. It's like, could 3 crackheads take out Mike Tyson? No way.
You have an infinite amount of Toby crackheads. You could just keep
up to $1 billion.
How many $5,000 go into? Let me see how many crackheads I could buy for $5 billion. Well, I
$1 billion. $1 billion.
So 500 million. Let me see how many Toby crackheads I could buy for that. So 5. That's a lot of zeros. To 5,
you can get 2,000 for
5,000
for $1 million.
So 100,000 Toby crackheads to take out Mike Tyson.
That you want to have some disposable money, though,
I have
right?
500 million left on the other side.
Okay,
so I could take 100,000 Youngstown Toby crackheads. They
Let's
got
hope there's not that many in this city.
There is.
So you're
of a population of 60,000 people. There are 500,000 of them are crack.
What about you got those people got to eat, they got to drink, they got to sleep.
Dude, I'll even take 50,000 crackheads and raise it to 10,000, 5,000 in cash and 5,000 in meth.
The meth you're gonna need when they go up against Tyson.
100%.
Okay.
But if you've got 50,000 of them, only one has to get lucky.
That's true. Now, would you have those like kind of in the man versus gorilla type thing? Would you have them like if he's there, attack them all at once or send them one by one?
I would give them the money all at one time, and then they can attack on their own timeline.
Now, how loyal would those people be? Like, I mean, because let's just say he's tired this week, and he's like, I'm gonna just take the week off, but next week I'm gonna go get Joe. So, are you paying those people like day in, day out?
So no, I'm gonna predicate the cash payment to the Medusa head of Mike Tyson. They're gonna get cocaine and crack and meth like up front,
okay,
because they're gonna need that for the pursuit.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a good plan.
It's a plan. I don't know. I would if I knew like he was nowhere within like a day's travel, I would say I would put together a plan if I took that money, and I would try to get as off the grid as possible for a little while till I got a better plan in place, and then but then again, if he knows, like he can go, I guess he can go after your family or friends too. There could be a lot of different ways. It could be a very interesting thing. But maybe you buy the police force in that town and just say, hey,
with that amount of money,
yeah,
you can pull it. But I don't know the market value of any of those drugs, so I might have overspent because it might be more in the drug supply than what I was given.
But do you think, because we saw Mike Tyson go against Jake Paul recently, but we're talking Mike Tyson in his prime. That dude was a killer.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. Like he could probably run for miles without getting tired. He's got the strength of, whatever. He's a freaking beast. So
have you ever seen like a meth head that needs a fix? Like what they're willing to go through to get it?
But I'm sure
it's more than what Mike Tyson's willing to put out.
Okay.
For sure.
All right. It's like one of those zombie movies where they're like attacking. Okay.
For sure.
All right. Very good. Okay. Let's switch.
Why are you friends with me?
Let's do this is fun. This is fun shit. Okay. I like it. Well, I posed the random hypothetical. So here's another one.
Okay.
This is apparently true. This was from the Joe Rogan podcast, but an ex-CIA scientist, so pretty intelligent person, tells Joe Rogan the U.S. has more than 10 recovered UFOs, some of which were donations. What say you on that?
Oh, it's for sure. Like, I can't believe people are permitted to talk about this issue.
Mm-hmm.
But come on, since the 50s, this
Yeah.
has been happening, and they've been able to cloak it in, government.
What do you
bureaucracy.
think? What do you think? First of all, the word donations, because it is, it is quoted in there. Like, what do you think donations means?
So,
Like alien spacecraft was
yeah.
a
So
donation?
articles, things that were captured, crashes, whatever. Like someone gives you their phaser gun or whatever. Like,
Yeah, sure.
that could be donated. I don't want you to know who gave it,
Mm-hmm.
but here's an article that will help you in your research.
Now, to that point, the United States has been around for what, 300 some years,
250.
250 plus. But like, we were in the industrial era for a while, right? And then all of a sudden, this boom, technology takes off around that time. And like, ever since, you could probably say 1980s, 90s, technology has exploded to now where we're at, where we're maybe afraid of robots eventually taking over for humans with AI. So do you think that those donations are part of the technology that scientists are maybe like reverse engineering?
Yeah. So aliens are monitoring us. So they're looking out for what we're going to do to ourselves with the nuclear and, this explosion of technology. And they're kind of helping. They're giving us Velcro, and they're giving us Tang.
They're giving us Tang.
Tang.
That was one of the inventions?
Technological innovations.
Okay. Now, do you think when we say aliens, a lot of people think of like Independence Day and what they see there, or a lot of people think of like War of the Worlds or whatever they see in movies, or those little green men or little whatever. So when we say aliens, what does that mean?
A visitor from another planet. Okay. And they may look like humans or they may not. So if you,
they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats.
So if you're from another planet and you don't resemble a human being, and all I did was give you access to my Wi-Fi, and you got to contribute to the human race, like just by what you post on Instagram.
Okay.
Why are you looking at me like
I'm listening.
You're judging me.
I'm listening.
Okay.
So
I can have a lot of influence just based on what I post, and I can use AI to
that's fair.
Personality and avatar. Or if I look like humans, like what are we to say that somebody from, Alpha Centauri doesn't look like a human being, and they can just come here, live in Seattle, right? And participate in our culture just like anybody else would.
Seattle's an interesting choice of city too. Okay.
I think Seattle's a lot of aliens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because of the weather?
No. Has nothing to do with the weather.
Why?
People are freaking crazy.
There's some weird people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're mostly aliens.
Okay. Most of them.
Most of them.
At least 51%.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That was a great random couple topics. So we will. I have plenty more, but we're going to shelve those for next week because they'll still be relevant.
You're no fun.
Yeah. We're going to stop it there. Do you think Mike Tyson's an alien?
That's a good one.
He's built in a lab, that dude. But he's also like, he's probably.
What if you found out a majority of human beings came from alien life elsewhere, where everybody you run into,
and the ancestral. Yeah. I don't know.
You wouldn't be surprised, right?
I think like I almost feel like the government now is like trickling out like little bits of information. So when they do drop that bombshell, if there is, and I don't know if there is or isn't, but it's a pretty big universe to not have anything else.
In our culture, if you were to find out one person that their name and what they're all about is an actual alien, who would you not be surprised by?
In our culture?
Yeah.
Oh man. It's probably got to be somebody really eccentric, like a celebrity or an athlete with like crazy things, or a politician, maybe put somebody in power. Oh man, that's a great question. I'm gonna say, but would they want to be outspoken and then be on the map, or would they want to be subtle?
But you wouldn't be surprised. So, like, let's just say Elon Musk.
Yeah, Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
That's
said,
my
"All right,
answer.
guys, I have to come clean.
Yep.
I am from."
You know what? That's my answer. Elon Musk. Yeah, because
he would be surprised.
He's very intelligent. He like beyond intelligent, but he's the weirdest freaking dude out there, in my opinion. Like, not the weirdest, but one of the weirdest. But he's also a genius with what he's able to do and think of and see. But he's a weird dude. But it would not surprise me.
No.
That's a.
What about like Celine Dion?
No,
if she was in it.
No,
100% no. Blake Lively?
Oh God, no.
Carpenter?
Oh no. She's short though. I don't know. Maybe like man, like George Bush or something, maybe? You think maybe George Bush?
Yeah, he was a little awkward.
Yeah, but he also like just talks like
that's what we assume, that they're going to be awkward
because you gotta have somebody in like higher
but
power.
Their technology is going to know what we are and how to fit in perfectly. So
true.
Celine Dion is probably a higher probability than an Elon Musk.
That's almost like one of those different things where they used to talk about lizard people, like infiltrating.
What, you don't believe in lizard people?
That's I do not. No. I do think there's higher powers, higher, obviously like the religious aspect, but there has to be more life out there than just us. It seems like a pretty big place to not have.
And if they haven't visited us, you'd be more surprised that they haven't than they have.
Or yeah, and maybe they've done it secretly, or maybe it's just like every now and then, like they slip up and like get caught by our technology or something like that.
And as long as you don't like exceed human capacity, then it's believable. But you have a LeBron James who's like, come on,
right?
That guy he's a freak. Superhuman.
Yeah, he is superhuman. Yeah, and do you think if it ever happens in our lifetime, do you think they're more likely to look like us or not look like us?
Totally look like us. They would blend in, for sure.
Okay, but they can like maybe change.
All right, so green guy on the court.
Yeah, right.
With 8 tentacles.
Right.
Like you're not going to accept that.
Yeah, right. So is that in our brain that they're just tricking us, that we think that's what they look like, or we're just, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, are they actually blending in to look like a human being, or is it just what we see through our like mind's eye?
So you and I are in a simulation, and everybody that we run into is an avatar.
Okay.
So it's whatever you want to be. So if you want to be a LeBron James, you can be a LeBron James.
Okay.
So for sure.
So I'm going to shelve this for next week, but like that makes me think
fun time
the new season of Black Mirror has dropped and finished, but there's 7 episodes in it. There are some real good ones in there, and there's some real like simulation, some real bigger think topics on. So we'll maybe do that later on next week. I think that'd be a good one. So let's end it there. And the next time we talk on this show, hopefully the Cavs are back in a place where they're maybe 2-2, or so we'll see. Maybe they accumulate some aliens and get some guys healthy, or maybe
find a couple of new people. And why do they have 8 legs?
Exactly.
I have no idea.
As long as they can jump, shoot, rebound, box the frick out. All right. So for Joe, I'm Justin. Thanks for dealing us on this random episode, but go Cavs, and we will talk to you guys soon. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. Thank you.